Hello, welcome in this video. I'm your host, Josef Voráček, and we will talk about our today's topic, which is personal branding and digital presence for female athletes. Whole video or presentation is divided into two parts. The first part includes a lot of factors or aspects which can influence some kind of brand image and personal brand image. And the second part is focused on some advices for you which you can use for your personal brand building. So let's get a little bit deeper into this topic. The first one is you can see the whole theoretical model of athlete brand image, and as you see, the whole model or athlete brand image is influenced by a lot of aspects, a lot of factors, and it divides into three dimensions, as it is athletic performance, attractive appearance, and marketable lifestyle. And all of these three dimensions includes a lot of another aspects. Yeah, it sounds a little bit difficult, a little bit maybe more theoretical, a little bit boring, because it includes a lot of things. But I guess you can think about some of these factors, some of these aspects, because what influences your brand image? There are a lot of things, a lot of different things, and it depends on each athlete which of the dimensions is more dominant or less dominant, and so on and so on, and which of these dimensions you can use more or less to build your personal brand. So the first dimension is athletic performance, and athletic performance includes another four aspects: athletic expertise, competition styles, sportsmanship, and rivalry. And all of these factors includes different things, and these different things are for some of you more crucial or less, but let's look at the first one, which is athletic expertise. And the first one, athletic expertise, which includes dominance in sport performance, clever and knowledge in the sports, results and statistics, or some specific athletic skills. These aspects you can consider it as a baseline for your brand building, because of course the results and sport performance is the most important thing you can be in some brand awareness map. So this is some crucial aspects: sport performance, athletic performance, results, and statistics. Of course, because without these sport performance indicators, it's really difficult and hard to build some brand and some awareness about yourself. The second part of this dimension is competition style, which includes distinctive, specific, unique competition style from other players. We will talk about later in some advices, but it's really important to be a little bit different than the other players, because if you are different, you are also recognizable. The second, another factor is exciting to watch and charismatic. So you have to be kind of recognizable within the other players, especially in team sport as football is. The third part of this dimension is sportsmanship, and it includes respect for opponents and other players, fair play, and sports behavior. And you can see, of course, a lot of examples where these aspects of fair play and sportsmanship are better, and a lot of examples where are not. So it depends. Of course, it's better to behave as this factor indicates, like fair play, sport behavior, and so on. But sometimes some of the athletes, some of the players, football players, female or male players, build their brand about a little bit different approach in these dimensions. The fourth one is rivalry, and especially in individual sports. Of course, we are talking about especially about football, but it's typical in more in individual sports that some rivalry helps somebody, some athletes, to boost or improve their brand. Because if you have not some kind of rival, some kind of equal opponent, it's difficult to be some exciting and interesting to watch, and so on. So if you have some major rivals, or rivals where some match or some battles are exciting and dramatic to watch, and also rivalry not only on the field but also off the field, it could be a little bit some interesting thing to your brand image. So that's the first dimension, athletic performance. Let's move to another one. As you can see, there are two different big dimensions. The second one is attractive appearance. What does it include? Attractive appearance, of course, and especially nowadays when we use a lot of visual tools, not only just television but also smartphones, tablets, and so on, and nowadays people are more visually oriented. So also the visual side or visual aspect of the athlete is very important, and these are the three parts of these dimensions. As you can see, it's physical attractiveness, some kind of symbol, and body fitness. The first one, physical attractiveness, maybe it sounds a little bit not appropriate in this day and age, but still, especially on digital media and social media, looks counts. Look counts, and some athletes, not all, but some athletes, maybe a lot of athletes, use their visual side or visual aspect to build their brand more than, for example, sport results or sport performance. So it is nowadays it is quite strong aspect, especially in the days of social media and presence on social media, where we used to look at people especially from the visual point of view. So physical attractiveness, beautiful looking, and of course be some kind of sexy, and this factor, I know it sounds a little bit maybe controversial, But still, the reality is that especially for female athletes, the physical attractiveness and the sex appeal and so on counts a little bit more than for male athletes. The second one is the symbol aspect, which includes attractive private fashion. You can be stylish or trendy in fashion. So fashion outside of the court, outside of the pitch, of the field, is under the view, under the perception of your fans, of your followers, of your spectators, and so on. So also, if you are a little bit fashion oriented, it could count for building a brand. And the third one is body fitness. And of course, when we talk about athletes, it's expectable that athletes will look fit, and their body fitness will be on the better way, on a better level than the usual I don't know, usual actress and usual person not in sport. So what it includes: good shape, body fits to the sport, and of course it depends on sport, because each sport has some visual or specifics for the athletes, and each sport requires different shape of the body and power and so on and so on. So really it depends on that the athlete has a body which fits to the kind of sport which you can do. So in football there are some specific characteristics with, for example, with comparison with another sport, for example figure skating, for example fitness, and so on and so on. So it has some specific characteristics. And also of course the healthy body, especially nowadays when the active sport living or active life and healthy life is nowadays really crucial. So if you want to be some role model for the others, they look at you, and of course it's important that you will have a healthy body. And maybe finally, but you will see after all, that we move to third dimension, which is marketable lifestyle. Marketable lifestyle is a kind of dimension where depends on your off-the-field life, and sometimes it counts, sometimes for some athletes it's important, for some athletes not. It depends on individual athletes. So the first part is some kind of life story, and if you have some dramatic episodes in your life, or dramatic personal life, or you are a person which is some kind of newsy for the media and for looking at and so on, it could be the factor which is important to influence your brand image. The second one is the second aspect is a role model, which includes social responsibility and good role model for others, especially for the children, especially for your peers, and not only for that, but you are athlete, you will be maybe some kind of professional athlete, you will be exposed in media, in public, you will be well known, and it's really important because many people and especially the young people look at you as as their role model. And it's really important to be a good or better role model for them within the good behavior and social responsibility, and be a good leader for your community. And the third part or third aspect of the marketable lifestyle is really relationship effort, which includes your relationship with your fans, with your spectators, with your followers on your social media, interaction with this group of persons, people, and so on and so on. And it's different whether you are closed inside or you are accessible and you communicate with them, you interact with them, and they can feel that they are a little bit closer to you, and they have a little bit closer relationship, and you are not so strange and so on. So that was the 3 key dimensions of athlete's brand image. And maybe you can ask, maybe there are another ones, there are some kind of external factors and so on and so on. So yes, look at the other things, and this was some core dimensions of athlete brand image, and we can add some others. So let's move deep into these another 2 groups of factors which can influence your athlete brand image. And don't worry, these 2 are the last one of the factors which can influence your brand image. And then we can skip finally to some advices, some tools, some I don't know, aspects what you can focus on in your personal brand building. And these final 2 groups of aspects which can influence your brand image are your marketing actions, and of course some kind of external factors, because a lot of aspects, a lot of factors you can influence by yourself, but there are some external factors, and we can start with them. You can't influence them. As you can see, some sport organization image, specific sports values, and national approach towards the sport. And we are talking about football. And it's obvious that football has a different status, different attitude in different countries. We are in Europe, so football in Europe is the most popular. Of course, football is the most popular sport all over the world. But in Europe especially, we can consider it like #1 sport in Europe, and it's a little bit different than in Asia or North America, but in Europe is really popular sport. So the public, as you can, as they see the football, they perceive some values, they perceive some image of this kind of sports, and you can't influence it. But the values or image of the sports transfer also to your personal brand image. So it is important to count with it and be prepared to face to it. So another thing what I want to tell you about this one, also sport organization image. It really depends in which club you play for, because all of the clubs, they have their own image, their own brand, and fans of the club, of course, then they perceive some specific image of the club. And if you play for some football club, also the brand image of the club transfer to you, to your personal brand. So it is also important. You want to connect with some club, and it's connected with some kind of brand image. So think about it, and maybe it can influence also your career and your move to the specific sports clubs. And it's also, of course, it's different when you are a player for, I don't know, for example, I use Real Madrid or FC Barcelona or something like that. And it's different if you play for, I don't know, for the sports club in the next village in, I don't know, here in Czech Republic. So it's a little different. And also the sports club where you play for, it influences that you can be recognizable, that influence also awareness about you. And finally, the middle one, your marketing actions. Your marketing actions is also very important, because as you behave on your social media, what you present on social media, what you present on your all communication channels, it counts. It counts, and people perceive it. And people create according to this exposure and your presentation. They create their own opinion, and they create the image about you. So your own media engagement, sponsorship. It's not only sponsorship, it's not only about money. Of course, it's are important. Of course, I understand, and it's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, also the connection with some companies, with some sponsors. Like, as I said, with the sports organizations, sports clubs, it's the same with the sponsors. So the image of the company transfer to your image. So there are some connections and close relationship between your desire of your brand image, and also connection between within the company's brand image. And I can't forget, for the last little part, which is the use of symbol. As you will grow, and as you move next steps to another club, and the next year, and you will be maybe some professional athlete, professional football player, the symbol or the logo or the brand itself and their aspects, visible aspect, like logo, nickname, and so on, maybe it will be more and more important to create the awareness, create the clear identification of not only of you, but also of your product, and so on. And now we skip to the second part, which is some advices, to you to create your brand. And I strongly recommend you, if you want to read something interesting, something exciting, and connected with the football, I strongly recommend you the book, which you can see on the slide, which is called Branded Like Beckham, from the Andy Milligan. and it's quite old, from 2010, of course, but still is strongly relevant, because there are some great and important advices for the building of brand of yourself. So look at the advices, and as I said, I strongly recommend you to read this book. It's not some kind of fat book and so on. It's quite easy to read, and there are some deeper information, there are some examples, and also we can talk about some examples later on in our mutual online meeting. So let's move to advices, and as a connection with the previous part, you will see a lot of advices includes some baseline from a lot of factors that can influence your brand. So let's skip this first slide and move to some advices you can use for your personal brand building. I forgot. I have there some citations or quotations for some authors. It can help maybe some distract your focus or theoretical background, and can help to connect with some of the theory which I will tell you about. So the first two: product trusts, buildings age, people die, but brands endure. And it's really important, especially when you think about not only just your sport career, active sport career, but especially when you will retire in the future, in the far future. So your brands stay, your brand endure. So the work or brand building is really important now, not after your active career. So now, and you can have some advantage from it after your active career, which is now, of course, you are active football player, but still after a few years, after a lot of years, tens of years, it's not forever. So this one, and very important quotations is this one. There are 3 laws of branding: differentiate, differentiate, differentiate. And I will skip to first advice, number 1, product. And I will read it because it's quite well spoken. To be a great brand, you have to have a great product in the first place, not necessarily a better product, but something that is different, that you are dedicated to, and that you constantly strive to improve. So focus on what you are good at. And this one is important thing, because like I said before, this is really strongly connected with the athletic performance and some characteristics, some specific and individual specific of your sport performance. And it is really important to be some different from the other players, different from the other athletes. Because if you are different, you are recognizable, and the awareness grows. So be a different. In which way? It depends. It could be some of your athletic technique or athletic performance. For example, I have some pictures there because I use the book, I use the literature about David Beckham, so I use example of David Beckham. And what was specific or what was different of David Beckham from the other players? It was his technique of free kicks and it was the strongest differentiate aspect that was strongly recognizable by public, by fans, by spectators, and so on. So this could be the example, but it depends what you consider of yourself, what you consider as some different thing on your sport performance, on your behavior, and so on. So the first advice, not to be same or no, to be a copy of someone. You have to be yourself. You have to be some kind of original. You have to be unusual. You have to be different. So think about some things you can be different in, and it can help you. The second advice is athlete brand, and consider the athlete brand as a systematic process. As a systematic process is not something happen itself. You can think about your brand as a company, as a firm, as your intangible asset. So like the previous one, I will read that managing a brand is a systematic process covering a multiplicity of factors, as we said about it early on. Athletes are no longer just endorsers of other people's product. They are brand in their own right and are learning how to manage themselves as such. So you are a brand, you are a company, you are a product, and think about yourself as a product from this point of view. I know maybe sometimes it's a little bit difficult because of course you focus especially in your sport performance, and it is right, but sometimes you can think about your brand and your future as a company, and you are not only just athlete, you are a brand, you are a company, you have some product to offer to your fans, to your followers on social media, to your sports club, and to your spectators. So learn from the experience of others, look at it, inspire from them, and also after that be inspiring for the others. There are some examples, of course. There are some examples of logos, and as I said before in the first part, of course, the use of symbols and nicknames and other aspects of your brand is more and more important as you grow, as an athlete, as a professional athlete. And don't forget it, and you can use some kind of these aspects to be consistent and be a little bit different and be recognizable. This quotation is quite interesting, and not only from the athlete's brand image point of view, but also from the personal point of view. A brand is what people say about you where you are not in the room. And that's interesting, that's really interesting, and you can use it, or you can think about this one not only on the field, but also off the field and also in the personal life, because brand image and brand is mostly created by the others. It's called co-creation of the brand. So of course you can influence some aspects by yourself, of course, but the result and the final image is created by the others, and that's important to think about it. Defining the brand. Brands are built on core values that people admire and are communicated through a personality that people like. Athlete brands are just the same. They have to be clear about their purpose and values and act accordingly. Be clear about what you stand for, because each of you has some different values in life, in sports, and of course it's created by your culture, by your family, by your friends, in the school, by your peers, and so on and so on. But as a brand, as a personal athlete brand, you can think about your values, which you stand for, and be consistent in that and behave like that. So you have to tell something and act accordingly what you say. Oh, I can't read on the video this word, but don't mess with the logo. Don't mess with the logo. And also you have there some quotation about, of course, from the book of David Beckham, some description from the media of David Beckham. And why we have it there? Because the look counts. The look counts, as I said in the previous list of many factors that which influence your athlete brand image. The look counts, and an athlete must manage his or her identity with the same meticulous attention to detail and awareness of its impact as a typical brand. Every look, every syllable of your name, every stitch of your clothes, and every follicle of your hair is part of your brand identity and needs to be treated with care. And especially, as I said in the previous part, especially nowadays when looks counts more and more, and spectators, fans, followers are more and more visual. So take care about your looks, because it counts, especially for female athletes. And yeah, I know it's quite controversial, but still the reality is that people look at your looks, and it's not only about haircuts, but it's only just example. But it's not only about the haircut. Of course, like I said in the previous part, there are a lot of aspects: body fitness, a healthy body, good shape, and of course the other visual aspect like haircut. For females, like makeups, and so on and so on. There are a lot of parts that are perceived strongly visual, and people look at it. People look at it and perceive something with it. And for example, like as you see, the David Beckham was well known for his looks, and he was some kind of trendsetter in the fashion and in what should looks look like. And nowadays it's quite similar. So some athletes build their brand about the looks. I'm not saying that is the most important, but that's the factor that fans, followers, spectators look at it and perceive and create some their image point of view. And it's another aspect you can focus on and take care of it. The best brand set out to do what they say, so it is with personalities as a brand. Have a clear goal, stay true to yourself, and make sure you get the maximum amount of credit for what you have done. And it is strongly connected with what I said before, that the same you talk about, the values and how you should behave, you have to behave like this. You have to stand for your values, be consistent, and behave according to your values. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. A hamburger by any other name costs twice the price. These two quotations is quite interesting because they are a little bit different and means a little bit different. But as you can see, the marketing of brand and the work or brand building or brand strategy with yourself is really strong, and you can do some moves back and forth, and it's not so easy. But if you work with the brand as a brand, not only just as an athlete, but as a brand, you can achieve interesting things. Commercializing a personality brand requires you to think not only about how much you can earn right now, but also about how any deal is going to help you achieve your brand goals and sustain your revenues in the long term. Don't sell yourself short, and don't sell short term. What does it mean? As an athlete and as a professional athlete and football player, be careful. As I said before, the sponsorship and connection with other brands is also really important. Think about who can you connect with, because the image of the company transferred to you. And for you as a brand, as an athlete brand, it's really important to connect with the another brands or companies where there is some similar DNA, some similar values, similar goals, similar image, because if there are these similar things, it makes sense also for the followers, spectators, fans, and so on and so on. So be careful when you choose your business partner, because the connection between companies and you as a brand, as an athlete, is quite crucial, and can influence your brand image, and also can influence the image of the company. And on the other hand, of course, as I said before, money are important, no doubt about it, of course. But think about some kind of balance. Focus on money and focus on relationship or sponsorship that makes sense. Because only the money helps you with the financial side. But the connection with the companies that make sense for the company, also for you, it helps you in your brand building. And as I said before, brand endure. If you are doing this right, the brands endure, and then you have to focus not only about sport performance, and also about your business, about the future after active sports career. And of course, if you are focused on the partnership with companies that make sense, that's the probability or chance to be a long-term relationship is higher and goes up. So think about not only the money with the companies, but also about the same values, same image, and same goals. A man is known by the company he keeps, and of course, as I said before, you are not only just athlete, which you present some sport performance. You are a brand, you are a company, you sell your product. You sell your product, and fans, followers, spectators buy your product, and you can monetize it. The seventh advice is co-branding. What does it mean? Managing relationship with the clubs, other celebrities and even national teams is all part of brand building. You have to choose your partner with care and manage them with even more care. Choose your partner with care. And this advice is not only about a relationship with some business partners and other companies, other brands, but also about the people you meet with, also the organization you cooperate with, the places you visit, and so on and so on. It's all of your off-the-field behavior and connection with some kind of subjects. It could be people, it could be organizations, places, activities, and so on and so on. All counts, and all is under the view of your fans, of your spectators, of your followers. So be careful what you are doing, who you meet with, and so on and so on. As a celebrity brand, all you have is your reputation, your brand. You do not have anything else. You have to understand and protect that intellectual property, because if you don't, everyone will take advantage of it. The protecting the brand is is focused on the legal terms and legal point of view. If you want to create brand as an intellectual property. Protecting your brand is not about firing of letters from lawyers. Rather, it is a complex proactive process. The owner of legal rights has to understand the language of brand protection every bit as well as the traditional brand owner, and be very bit as aggressive. Attack is the best form of defense. And I will switch to another slide because this is example of registration of trademarks, of course, again by David Beckham. And you can see that intellectual property is crucial, of course, for the top athletes, for the professional athletes. So you have to protect your brand in the law way, and also in the legal way of thing. So that's another part, and I will skip that because it's about the law and legislation and so on and so on. But this one, consult and communicate with lawyers about intellectual property, especially if you are professional athlete and you want to create strong brand and recognizable brand which is protected. If you don't plan the future you want, you get the one that turns up. So my final advice is the future of the brand. Start planning your future now. Maybe you are not still top professional athlete, but work on your brand. Think about it. Behave as a company. Behave as a brand, because it's important. When you will start now, the results will come years later, but it's important to think about it right now. So having a strong brand gives you options to develop in the future, but you need to think quickly, plan carefully, and move as swiftly as you can, while you have the advantage of a lot of goodwill. You cannot live on your reputation for very long. So work on it, think about it, behave like it, and like I said, start planning your future now. And as the project is about her football future, so start your football future right now and work on your personal brand. Thank you for your attention. I hope it was not so long video, and I hope that you will enjoy our next mutual online meeting when we can discuss or show some examples and answer your questions when you are interested in. So thank you for watching and see you soon. Bye.